Hey everybody, Bill in Virginia. Welcome back. So starting this episode off with some purchases I just made at Harbor Freight. So I'm starting to do the scratch build for the loading dock. And I noticed that with what I've got, the thicker material, I just cannot do a nice square cut using a knife or even, the little saws that I have. It's just too much play. So I looked on eBay and I noticed they had these listed. Looked at the price and went, and then looked at Harbor Freight's website where these probably came from in the first place, and about $15, almost $20 cheaper at Harbor Freight than getting them online. So made a trip down there. I haven't opened it. This one had already been opened at some point. It's Harbor Freight. I'm not going to worry about it. See how they work. 4-inch little table saw, 2-inch benchtop cutoff saw. For doing, the wood that we use for scratch building should be fine. I'll find out soon. I also bought another carbide tipped blade for the saw just so I've got it, and then a couple of other things, little watchmaker's hammer, again a small dead blow, and I ended up picking up a nice stainless steel tweezer set for a variety of different styles of tweezer. There's some things I found when I was building the water tank that these would have come in handy, so I got those, add those to my tools. So got that, and then I am also cleaning off those shelves. Got a couple of things to take down yet, then I can start the disassembly. The plywood is just set in there, that'll come down quick. The metal shelving over here, this bracket is attached to here, and the rest of it was attached to that bracket that goes in for that support. So again, I can take all of that stuff down fairly quickly and get it ready for what I'm going to do here in the near future. So been working on that just a little bit today, and I'll do a little bit more as we get into the weekend, but that's where I'm at. I've got my backdrops off and back into storage for all of the different layouts so that I can do more just over in this corner and up there. So more to come. Making some progress on the shelf teardown. Rest of it is a giant erector set. So I will take it apart piece by piece and salvage all of it. I will store it because you never know, might find a use for it. And then we'll go from there. Well, taking those down actually frees me up a lot of space. So I'm going to be playing with the design for the bracket, that I'm going to put the layout on once it's in position. Also looking to put in my LED lighting, and then seeing what I can do above. So I might make the capacity to do storage for 2 4x8 sections up there. And the reason for that would be, again, space, not so much that I would build a 4th section, although you never know. But when I'm getting a section down, I need to have a place to put it. So being able to do some maneuvering in the garage, I don't know, I gotta contemplate that. But it's a rainy day here in Richmond, so I've been having some fun. Now, time to get cleaned up and go see a movie. So back over at the bench for a while, and I'm starting to build the framework for the loading dock that I'm going to have on the ON30. So nothing is glued. I've just got the pieces cut. These are going to be the support legs. Like I said, I don't have anything glued yet. So I've been using both the little chop saw and the little table saw. Now I just put the table saw back in the box for storage. So I've been using both of them. I use the table saw to cut up the legs. Pretty good cut. Just a little sanding to do on those, to, get them nice and level so that they sit well on the framework here. All of these I've cut off the chop saw. I can see right now that the chop saw is going to get most of the use. It's easy to use, easy to cut on the lines, gives a nice square cut. So I'm having fun with it. I'm happy I got these. So I'm going to continue to build this and show you as I get a little bit farther along on that. This will go fairly quick because I'll be using some of that pre-stained lumber. This I'll stain up after I get it all built, and we'll see what it looks like here in a little while. Well, I'm going to wrap it up for a Saturday night. So the loading dock is actually coming along nicely. Like I said, I'm really glad I got those tools. It's making short work of this. So I still have to put cross bracing in on the supports that are underneath. This is a 3 by 6 inches loading dock. You can see I'm not glued any of the decking on, but that's how the decking is going to look. I will put the cross pieces on the bottom first, but I'm just kind of figuring out how much of the materials I'm going to need for the decking, and I've got plenty. As I made mention before, I got some eBay purchases, and this is full, and that goes down. Hundreds of sticks in each one of these compartments. I've got enough to do a fair amount of scratch builds for a while. So that is turning out well, and I used this by Testers, a acrylic wood stain, and this is like a weathered black or black wash. So I made these beams pretty dark, and I think that looks pretty good. More like creosoted beams that they used for this. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night, and probably I should be able to get this done tomorrow unless something else comes up. Well, Sunday afternoon, and a little bit farther along on the build. So I've got my bracing put in place underneath. I sort of skipped around a little bit. You're not going to see it much, but some looks good enough to me here. So I'm going to start putting the deck on. It's not going to be long before I can have this finished up. The deck is just repetition of cut and glue, and should have that done pretty quick. Well, decking is going on. Any little overhang that I have, I'll trim once the glue sets, but this is going on pretty quick. Just got to kind of cut some more pieces to keep ahead of it, but having fun with it. Looking like a loading dock. So there is my completed loading dock. Turned out pretty well for a first attempt. The stairs were fun to make. Stained everything up, and I ended up gluing on one of those 2 little crossing shanties that I had built. I was originally going to use this just as like a little storage, and you know what? I still am. Makes a perfect little addition to the top of the dock where they can store or somebody can sit in there. So I'm going to go put this on the layout and see how it looks. But with this is the last structure that's going to go over in the service area. I can start to do additional ground cover and get that scene wrapped up here. So next shot, show it in reasonably close to the place it's going to be, and then I can start doing some other things over there. So here's that dock in its position along that track. So yeah, I'm happy with how that turned out. That is looking nice. Everything that's in there. So building layout and position, I think, is reasonably well set for what I want in here. So now what I can start doing is I can come back in and start building up some areas and getting ready to put in ground cover and get my road in. In fact, I'll probably do the road first because then that defines where everything else is going to go around that road. But happy camper here. Good way to end a weekend. So cool. Let's see what else I can get into. Well, it's been about a week since that last video segment on the loading dock. Traveled back to Iowa, spent some time there, saw my mom. Also went to Caboose Stop Hobbies again. I will have a hobby shop haul that I'll show here in probably another video or two. I've got a lot I got coming yet. So what I've been doing since I've been back is I have been building more trees. Just kind of refining the techniques on doing my pine trees. And I'll show you the size of these here in just a minute on the next clip. So here's the bigger of the two trees that I was just showing. Made out of grapevine wire for the core, florist wire wrapped and put on for limbs. So same techniques as the bigger ones that had just showed in another video or two back. So this one, perfect size for a smaller pine tree on an HO scale layout, or if you're modeling N scale, you know, this could be a fairly good size N scale tree. If you're doing logging operations and you've got some big old trees, this one would work. Turned out really well. Techniques are the same. You know, you get a decent looking tree, and again, it doesn't take long to build these. So let's take a look at that smaller of the two. So there is the smaller of the two, and this one is really a nice sized tree for N scale. And it actually would be a really good tree for Z scale. Now right now it is still wet and I still have to do some finish detailing on it. But you get nice branch structure, you know, it looks good. You get a few of them together, you get them into some woods, and you would have some outstanding trees. Like I said, I've still got to put some more foliage on this one, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's completed. This one, really quick and easy. Grapevine wire trunk, florist wire, wrapped around with the little loops. And I think I'm going to do a video on just how I made these, because you can make these really fast and really easy. And I came on a technique last night. So to get all the branches on, it took me about 5 minutes. And I'll show you how I did that when I do a video on this. But again, you know, trees are good size, look good in place. You get a bunch of them. You can make them. You have a nice forest for your N or Z scale layout. So show you a little bit more here once I get it a little bit farther along. So back over here at my little portable work area, and I've got this little tree done. So I'm happy with the results on it. The foliage is a mix of 2mm static grass and then Woodland Scenics blended turf. Kind of mixed all together in a ratio of, for this, about 1 part static grass and about 2 parts the Woodland Scenics blended turf. Just gives it a little bit finer texture. You know, again, this is, you know, small for either N or Z, or, you know, just a baby tree on the O scale layout. I don't know. I got to figure out where I'm going to put it. Probably both of these will go over on the O scale layout, over on the far module, somewhere near where the hobos are. That seems to be my spot where I've still got a little bit of space where it would make sense. But anyway, I will do a video on how to make these. Very simple. You know, if I ever do another N scale layout, I will make a lot of these because it's just easy to do. So I think with that, I am going to call this video done. So keep having fun on your layouts. Until next time.